thank you. My turn. And Micha's opportunity to get even for asking questions. Anyway, does this work? Ah, it works. Okay. I'm going to present you what I'm currently doing regarding the article we have to write. And in some sense, it's continuation of the work that I did within the chapter that we had to write for the book. Anyway, my initial intention was to research about use of AI and specifically ChatGPT and similar technologies in information warfare. But then it turned out that this is already quite an active area and there are a lot of works. So in the end, I ended up in social engineering and its relationship to information warfare. So basically the research question I'm dealing with is, could social engineering be used in information warfare? And what's the relation between the social engineering and everything else within the information warfare? And in doing that, I will rely on what I did within the chapter where I defined tactics and techniques for the social engineering. So this is one sub-question, and the second sub-question is social engineering is used in cybersecurity. So is there a difference between social engineering that is used within the cybersecurity and the one that could be used within the information warfare? And the reason why these questions are important is because they allow us to better assess information warfare itself and operations that are constantly ongoing in the world. So one benefit is that social engineering can be used for information operations, to support them, to improve them, and so on and so forth. Social engineering is quite a researched concept within the cybersecurity, so basically knowledge that's gained within this research could be transferred with the information warfare. And besides, it's much easier to study social engineering in cybersecurity than in information warfare, because cybersecurity allows at least somewhat controlled environment and access to people, while when we are talking about information warfare, it's a completely different picture. And finally, much of the research within the social engineering deals with how to protect from the attacks that use social engineering, which obviously also has impact and benefits for the information warfare. So in short, what is a social engineering? It's a set of applied psychological and analytical techniques used to manipulate victims, or people, better to say. And what's interesting, actually, is the social engineering is frequently associated with cybersecurity and information security. And on the conferences that deal with cybersecurity, social engineering is always, or almost always, the topic. But social engineering is not the cybersecurity. And the reason for that is, for example, that social engineering uses technology as a mean, not as a target. And also that there are certain techniques within the social engineering that actually don't require technology or technological support. So basically it's manipulating people, it's an area for itself. But the tradition is such that basically, as I said, social engineering is talked about on cybersecurity conferences. By the way, the same things happen with the AI security, because it's also quite a big question of how secure these systems are from manipulations, which is also something to be debated. Is this related to cybersecurity or not? But this is a topic for itself, and I'm not going to go deeper within this presentation. So how does social engineering attack looks like? And basically, these are the steps that social engineer attacker goes through, or group, when planning and executing an attack. The first thing is that attack goal has to be formulated so that it's known what should be achieved and what's the idea behind the attack. And I put it in the bold letters because this is actually the only step, as far as I think, as far as I now think, that basically differs between the cybersecurity and the information warfare. All the other steps, more or less, are the same. So, for example, the next step would be information gathering, that is, that that has a goal of finding as much information as possible about potential victims, because the more you know about people, the more successful you are in manipulating them. Then there is obviously preparation. You have to prepare with the data you have, with the goals that are given, and to plan attack. Then you have to develop relationship with the victim, meaning you have to approach the victim and somehow gain a trust to be able to fulfill whatever you need to fulfill. And finally, based on the trust you established, you actually exploit this relationship, meaning that you get something from the victim. And the final step is to assure the victim that nothing special happened in order to not sound any alarms that something happened. So basically, these are the steps, general steps of any social engineering attack. Now, as for the attack formulation in information warfare, the goal would be to spread disinformation. We talked about disinformation several times during this day, so obviously it's quite an interesting and broad topic. And in this case, social engineering techniques are used to spread something. And depending on what you want to spread, you are targeting certain individuals or groups. For example, you might target some influencers that are very highly connected, meaning that whatever they say, many people will believe without any questions asked. Then there are also manipulating key people that have connections to some other group that you want to influence in that way. You can also influence echo chambers, meaning people that gather together and in some way believe each other and don't ask also questions. And then, obviously, finally, you can go with mass operations, meaning that you are trying to reach anyone and everywhere. The key point is that whoever is target of the social engineering attack is unaware of being a target. So he or she doesn't know that their role and that they are being targeting on victims. So here's an example of potential social engineering attack that was also information warfare operation, even though there is a caveat I will mention in this slide as well. So in essence, Russia had a stake in a big company in Croatia, and when sanctions were imposed on Russia, they were trying to save their investment by selling their stake within this company. And due to sanctions, they were disallowed to do that. And basically, the case ended up in the court in Netherlands, where in the end, they were prohibited from selling, from this sanction, from selling it. And the interesting thing happened is that this was in December. Somewhere almost after the new year, one prominent Croatian politician went into public with arguments against this company and its CEO that were the same as the arguments that the Russians were using within the court. And now, here is actually something that's not conclusive, obviously. We cannot, based on similarity, conclusively say that he was influenced, but in such a short time period, having the same arguments quite makes the case quite interesting and raises the probability that actually there was some kind of communication. And why this would be information warfare if that would be true? Well, obviously, we have here a key person. So this is the second group, key people with connections to others, that was willing to believe in something and that obviously took this and actually spread it to media. And basically as being popular within the Croatia to some degree, many people believed what he said, and basically this created confusion and problems and so on and so forth. So that's the one example. The second example is from the US. Actually, what happens, I don't know how much do you follow happenings within the US, but there was investigation for quite some time against President Joe Biden and his son Hunter Biden with the accusations that they received bribery from the Ukrainian government related to something. It's not important what, but there was a bribery. But then it turned out that the key witness in this case was actually a Russian informant. First of all, this person was a liar. It turned out that he is not capable of saying anything without lying. That's the first thing. And the second thing is that prosecution claims that he had contacts with Russian intelligence services, meaning he was fed directly disinformation from the Russia. And now, obviously, this is information, or at least for me, this is information warfare operation. The only question here that's left open is this individual aware that he was manipulated by the Russian intelligence agencies, or he was willingly participated in this? This is an open question that I couldn't find information, at least for now, which means basically that social engineering either targeted him, in the case he was not aware, or was targeting the Congress in this case, because Congress was having inquiry in the whole thing, and basically in that way created a lot of problems in the US. Now, one interesting thing as well is that there is difference between disinformation and misinformation, because disinformation is defined as purposeful spreading of false information, while misinformation is unpurposeful. Someone is saying something without meaning it or with any ill intentions. And obviously, when a person who is targeted by social engineering attack is fed disinformation, at that point, this disinformation actually becomes misinformation. But in the end, I would conclude this is more of the philosophical difference between, as always, it's very hard to distinguish when it's disinformation, when it's misinformation, because you have to go into someone's head and see what's going on there to know for sure. Anyway, in conclusion, it says that social engineering could be used and is used for the purposes of information warfare, or information operations, better to say, even though it's not called by that name. And as I said, this is just a glimpse into this research that's ongoing, so we'll see in the future how this will progress. Just as a final note, I received 2 days ago a book review of my book chapter, and within this review, actually, I got one very good pointer, which is that there is this Disarm Foundation, which I didn't know for, that basically tries to organize all the knowledge related to not only information warfare, but many other things as well. And basically, this is something that I looked at for the time being that I had time, and it seems to me a lot similar to social engineering, actually. And basically, that's it. Thank you for your attention.